Good day and welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I am your host, the voice of reason. Today we are continuing our ongoing coverage of the civil war taking place inside the former state of Ethiopia, along with the Eritrean invasion of the Tigray region. So as we look at our coverage today, as we continue to analyze the ongoing conflict, do you, the viewer, believe that the general staff of the Abiy loyalist forces, and more specifically, the divisional commanders of the Abiy loyalist forces, and then going down to battalion commanders, company commanders of the Abiy loyalist forces that are currently operating, for the most part, in southeastern Tigray, attempting to move their way up towards Mekelle. They seem to be stopped just south of Maichu, this area here. And to a lesser extent, assisting the Eritrean army in its campaign in the north. Do you think it's possible at this point that the general staff, the military leadership, especially those personnel who are operating in the Tigray region, have yet come forward and told Abiy Ahmed that the war is unwinnable? That given the facts on the ground, in terms of this industrial strength insurgency and heavy doses of conventional warfare at the same time taking place in the Tigray region, and then compounding that, a second front that has been ongoing in Oromia. We have seen the Oromo Liberation Army prove that it can take control of towns and cities in western Oromia. And each day we hear about reports that more and more Oromo fighting age males are joining the Oromo Liberation Army. So as it sets right now, the Abiy Ahmed regime is fighting somewhat of a conventional war in the north that will at best become an industrial strength insurgency, which we have seen for all intents and purposes in northern Tigray, and at the same time another industrial strength insurgency taking place in Oromia. And again, we talk about an insurgency, but at the same time, in the case that we observed in the town of Mindi, that was more or less a conventional operation by the Oromo Liberation Army that was able to engage and defeat Abiy regime security forces in the field, and they cut off the B40 highway. So essentially a two-front war Abiy Ahmed is now fighting. Now obviously with the assistance of the despotic regime of Isaias Afwerki's Eritrea. So difficult proposition right now for the former Ethiopian National Defense Forces, or better known as the Abiy Loyalist Forces. The situation for Eritrea is incredibly unpleasant, to say the least, as we speak. Obviously, the B30 highway has been renamed the Highway to Hell, given the intensity of operations by the Tigrayan Defense Forces against the logistical support of the Eritrean army. The Eritrean army is surrounded in Adwa. And it would not surprise us here at Military and Foreign Affairs Network at all if we are to hear that Adwa has been retaken by the Tigrayan Defense Forces. And we could see a large number of Eritrean forces surrender in and near Adwa. We know that there is fighting taking place inside of Adwa, but more importantly, the ability of the Eritrean army to supply itself in Adwa has really taken it on the chin. They are having a difficult time supporting its forces again, not just in Adwa, Axum, Shire, Wikro, other towns along this B30 route. It wouldn't surprise me at all if we were to soon see a road sign pop up somewhere near the Eritrean-Tigray border and say, "Welcome to the highway to hell." Wouldn't surprise me at all, given the nature of the conflict that we are now seeing. And then again, the question is, was this in the Tigrayan Defense Forces playbook from the get-go? Was it the strategy to allow the main echelons of the Eritrean army deep into Tigray only to have it destroyed? It's possible. Is it likely? Tough to say. I do believe the Tigrayan Defense Forces would have liked to stop the Eritrean army at the border, north of Rama, well north of Adidaro, and near Zalambasa. I do believe there was a contingency plan that we're probably seeing now that involved allowing the Eritrean army into Tigray with the intent on killing it in Tigray. Very possible. We were looking at a situation prior to the breakout and control of Shire and then the push east along the B30 of a rather stagnant conflict taking place. So it'll be interesting to see how this ends, at least for the Eritrean army in northern Tigray, because my understanding right now, it is a incredibly difficult situation for the Eritrean military, its commanders, and more importantly, the troops on the ground that are attempting to occupy these various points inside of northern Tigray. And then again, if we look to the south, the Abiy loyalist forces are stopped. And I have to wonder if they are now contemplating, well, if we press forward past Maichu and we head towards Mekelle and we extend our lines, are we going to see the same fate for our forces, the Abiy loyalist forces, that they are seeing along the B30 highway in the north? Very possible. And then to throw further issues for the Abiy loyalist forces is what is happening in the south, west of Addis Ababa, with the Oromo Liberation Army physically gaining control of towns and villages at an increasingly and an alarming rate. So again, two-front war. Can Abiy Ahmed win this war? Or are we looking at war in perpetuity? The final collapse of the former state of Ethiopia's economy? Very possible. In terms of what is happening right now on the ground, and the cost and treasure and expense and lives, material. It's war in perpetuity. War without ending. And unfortunately, I don't think anybody back in 2018, as Abiy Ahmed came to power, believed that they would be in this situation that they're seeing now. So again, as I talked about buyer's remorse in the past, it is very prevalent. I have talked to several very wealthy persons from the Amhara region. And based on those conversations, if they had a do-over, if they had to look at the placement of Abiy Ahmed as the leader of now the former state of Ethiopia, would they have done it? And the answer is no, absolutely not. This was not foreseen. But that's where we sit right now. We will continue to watch this very, very closely. We are watching events in the north along the B30, aka, again, the highway to hell, and other areas as well. We anticipate that the use of tactical aircraft and drones will probably pick up against the Tigray region. But at the same time, when they do that, the Abiy loyalist forces do that, they continue to risk isolating and angering the Tigrayan population, which they've already done so. So they probably can't do too much more harm in that regards. But that's a tactic that we're now seeing in Oromia with the Abiy loyalist Air Force bombing towns and villages, and in all probability we'll continue to see that as well taking place in the Tigray region as well. But as soon as we get more information, as soon as we get clarity in terms of what is happening in Adwa and some other areas, as the Tigrayan Defense Forces continue counter-offensive operations against the Eritrean army in the north, we will absolutely report it and get that information to you. Thanks for joining us today. More to come very, very soon. And as always, have a good day.